Gary Lineker and Alan Shearer deliver their verdicts on Aiden Heaven's display for Man United against Arsenal. Ruben Amorim certainly demonstrated his faith in Aiden Heaven during Manchester United's 1-1 draw with Arsenal at Old Trafford. Welcome to our new edition of News from Carrington. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support the channel. After the game, Amorim confirmed that Leny Yoro needed to be replaced at halftime owing to a foot injury, meaning he'll need to be monitored before the second leg of Man United's Europa League tie with Real Sociedad this week. Of course, Yoro's issue meant that Heaven was thrust into the spotlight against his boyhood side Arsenal, who he only left in January. Heaven slotted in at left centre-back in Amorim's back three, meaning he spent most of the half dealing with the threat of Gabriel Martinelli returning from injury. And against some of his old teammates, Heaven stood up admirably, perhaps proving why he deserved more chances at Arsenal. Aiden Heaven shows Arsenal how much talent they lost in January. Arsenal did try to keep Heaven at the club, but the youngster was clearly convinced that he would receive more chances elsewhere. That being said, all of Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Micah Richards gave their thoughts on Heaven's display on The Rest is Football podcast. The trio were all impressed by the 18-year-old contribution and assured presence on the ball. Lineker began the chat. Heaven came on, I love that name, Heaven. There's a headline there to be had at some point. I thought he did really well. Shearer replied, yeah he did, I thought he did really well. He looked comfortable and assured and a couple of important tackles and blocks. Yeah, he did really well in the second half, he did. Richards, I think when he watched the game, his first touch was a header, because I always watch defenders when they come up. Just make sure your first touch is good. The ball come in and he headed away. It was brilliant, and that's when you can get the confidence. You just want to do the basics, don't you? And I thought he did the basics really well when he came on for Yoro. Ruben Amorim says Aiden Heaven might even be too relaxed. Speaking at his press conference after the 1-1 draw, which United fully deserved, Amorim also praised Heaven's contribution. The United boss said that Heaven was so relaxed, which is perhaps a sign of the youngster's confidence in his own ability. Man United fans loved Heaven's display, and Amorim appeared to be aware that there was still a long road ahead to keep developing the 18-year-old. Amorim said, Aiden's so relaxed. He seems so relaxed that sometimes he's too relaxed. But I think we have a player there, so now we have to control and to tell him that was just the game, etc., etc. Leny, he has something in his foot, I think. We'll see if he's available for Thursday. Manchester United fan group the 1958 issue statement after successful protest. We have always said it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it requires resolve, dedication and commitment. Manchester United supporters group, the 1958, have issued a further rallying statement following the huge fan protest this weekend, a demonstration which they have dubbed a massive success. Thousands of Man United fans descended upon Old Trafford as they do every week this Sunday. Only this time they were there for much more than the usual 90 minutes. In what looks to be the largest scale turnout for some years, Reds turned up in their droves to march from the Tollgate pub just outside the Trafford Bar tram stop before making their way down Talbot Road towards the cricket ground and then onto Sir Matt Busby Way. Although it's pretty much impossible to say just how many people attended the peaceful demonstration, it looks to have been the biggest since the 2021 Glazer protests around the time of the Super League. Edward Glazer and Sir Jim Ratcliffe were at the #AFC game and will have been left in no doubt about the strength of feeling against the club's ownership as thousands of #MUFC fans protested amid angry, defiant scenes. Quite the turnout, as you can see, and the 1958 wasted no time in commenting on the sheer numbers which joined them in protest. Writing in a lengthy post on X, they said, "Today was a massive success and fans showed up in huge numbers. Young, old, families, supporter clubs, some fans are clearly struggling. All for the love of our club and to fight for everything we stand for. Worldwide media coverage turning the lens of greed back on our owners. Each one of you made a statement that we have had enough. We will not take it any longer." Many seem to think that a protest is a silver bullet. It is a war of attrition, and the war to protect the best interests of our club, generational fans and football is underway. We have always said it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it requires resolve, dedication, and commitment. This will be more than protests at the ground, and everyone will need to play their part. Everyone who took part today at the ground or online will be on the right side of history, unified in solidarity under a single cause. Stay the course and support each other. Further updates will be released this week on what comes next. The 1958. Having already assured that he agrees with supporters' rights to protest following the Real Sociedad game last week, Ruben Amorim once again gave his thoughts after the fact. Speaking in his post-match press conference following a hard-fought draw, the head coach said, "This club will never die, that is clear. You feel it in the streets. This is a big business, and maybe all the fans in this league sometimes feel it is harder to go to the games and pay for tickets. We want to give them a lot of effort. In the future, we will not play like that." As for the game itself, despite United taking the lead through a stunning free kick from captain Bruno Fernandes, an equally impressive strike by Declan Rice saw the game end 1-1. "We need more." Ruben Amorim sends Man United transfer plea. Ruben Amorim was full of praise for Bruno Fernandes. Man Utd's captain scored the opening goal in a 1-1 draw with Arsenal this weekend. Amorim urged United to sign more players with Fernandes' quality and character. Manchester United head coach Ruben Amorim urged the club to sign more players like Bruno Fernandes after the divisive captain put in another impressive display to help his side earn a 1-1 draw with Arsenal on Sunday afternoon. Since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement 12 years ago, United have spent almost £1.3 billion on signings, comfortably the largest outlay of any club on the planet over the same period. Yet, for all that expenditure, precious few arrivals have made a lasting impact, and even fewer can claim to be as successful as Fernandes. "I think any coach, when he wants to bring players, he expects the best, but sometimes they have to adapt, and sometimes you have luck with the character of the player or not," Amorim outlined when asked about the club's mangled recruitment after Fernandes scored the opening goal in the draw with Arsenal. "Even with all the investigation that all the coaches do before signing players, what I can say is that we need more Brunos. That is clear. Not just the quality, the character, not some mistakes, but the character that he has, the availability in this league, is so important, and he's so decisive with the ball and without the ball." Not everyone shares Amorim's admiration for Fernandes. Former United captain Roy Keane has repeatedly questioned the attitude of a player who never hides his emotions during a match. Yet Sunday's stalemate with the Gunners, one of the few vaguely cohesive performances United have managed this season, was once again orchestrated by Fernandes. "I think he steps up all the time," Amorim said of his captain. "Sometimes he can show some frustration in some moments that can hurt him more than anybody. And I understand that, it's that frustration, he wants to win. But, again, he's also always available, always there to play in different positions. And when we need sometimes a goal, a free kick, an assist, he's always there. So I think he's a very good example. He does some mistakes, that's normal, but he's a very good example for the other players." Fernandes, according to Amorim, should also be an example for United's recruitment team ahead of the summer transfer window. Victor Gyokeres sends Ruben Amorim transfer reminder as Man United agreement expires. Latest Manchester United transfer news and gossip with an update on Sporting Lisbon striker Victor Gyokeres, who has been linked with a move to Old Trafford. Victor Gyokeres has sent a timely message to Manchester United after being linked with a move to Old Trafford. Gyokeres has been frequently tipped to be a potential target for United when the summer transfer window opens. United currently have Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee as their centre-forward options, with former Arsenal Academy starlet Chido Obi also getting game time in recent days. On Sunday, Sporting Lisbon claimed a 3-1 victory over Casa Pia in the Primera Liga clash at the Estadio Municipal de Rio Maior. Gyokeres scored 2 goals in the game, including one from the penalty spot, sending a clear message to United in the process. Gyokeres has now scored a whopping 39 goals in 40 appearances for Sporting this season and is likely to be the subject of intense transfer speculation in the summer. United were heavily linked with the Sweden international in January, particularly after Ruben Amorim's appointment as the club's head coach. Amorim coached Gyokeres earlier this season during his time as Sporting manager and brought the striker to the club from Coventry City back in 2023. Soon after arriving at Old Trafford, Amorim was asked about the possibility of signing any players from Sporting, revealing he had a gentleman's agreement not to do so in January but did not rule out that changing in the summer. "I won't sign Sporting players in January, that's what I said," said Amorim. "I don't know about the summer. The first point is to hold on until the summer. Sporting's players are very good players, I don't know, we'll see. I know the phenomenon of football, especially in England, and I know how things change." Various reports have claimed that Gyokeres has a €100 million, £84 million, release clause in his contract at Sporting. However, there have been some suggestions that the striker could be allowed to leave for a fee of around £68.5 million.